Start by rolling out your different coloured fondants so they are roughly 5mm thick. You then want to simply place some cling film over the top of each colour and cut out some circles with a circle cutter. Now, the reason for the cling film, you'll notice when I'm holding these circles up to the camera, they've got more of a spherical kind of look. They're a lot smoother around the edges. It's just to make your poppet look more realistic. Using some Tylo powder, turn a small amount of white fondant into gum paste. I then roll this in between 5mm spaces. Once this is rolled out, go through all of your cookie cutters and pick your favourite, and then simply place this directly on the top of your fondant, and you want to cut out that shape. Taking some cooled down boiled water or edible glue, simply add 2 food skewers directly to the gum paste. Remember, this is going to set lovely and hard once it's been left overnight. You want to do this in order to support it directly onto the cake so that it doesn't topple over. Using a ribbon cutter, don't worry if you don't have one of these, you can just use a ruler and a really sharp crafts knife. I simply cut a strip of each of the colours for the poppet, the same colours that we used right at the beginning of this tutorial when we were making these small spherical dots to go directly on top. Once you have cut all of these strips, you want to place them in the line that you want the colours to be in, and then simply take the same cookie cutter that you used on your white gum paste, place it directly over the strips. The strips don't want to be stuck to anything, not just yet, and just push it down. You want to get off all the excess around the outside. Take your time and be very careful just so that it doesn't lose its shape. One more thing I just want to point out, I did turn this into gum paste. It just makes it easier to work with, especially with what we're going to be doing next, and it will set beautifully. Again, using some cooled down boiled water or edible glue, all we need to do now is add each of the strips directly to the blank white canvas that already has those supports in. Make sure you also add glue in between each strip so that the actual strips are stuck to each other as well. It will take a while for this to set. You can leave it overnight, but please remember, if it is humid, it may take longer. Now we need to add the coloured balls, but it needs a little bit more detail. So here all I use is a piping nozzle, and I use it as a cutter, and you want to cut out simple circles. From these you will then use the small circle cutter that you originally used at the beginning to create the balls, just to cut out the centre, because the ball will fit in there perfectly. Finally, using some cooled down boiled water or edible glue, simply stick these directly to the corresponding colour and add one of the small balls that we created right at the beginning. And as you can see here, that process is simply repeated for each individual colour. Now we need to add some very small fragile strips directly to the poppet just to separate the colours. So as you can see, I've already added green. Now here I am using a cutter again, just to speed up the process. However, don't worry if you don't have one of these. A ruler and a very sharp crafts knife will do the trick. Again, a small amount of edible glue in between each corresponding colour, and I simply repeat that process with each individual one. Now all we need to do is add the strips around the outside. The only difference here is these ones are actually hand cut. So they are 5mm thick. In order to get it that thickness, I have used spacers. Remember, this is gum paste now, not fondant, so it will set lovely and hard as long as you give it time. At the beginning, I just trim a small amount away to allow the food skewers to go directly underneath. Again, you can use cooled down boiled water or edible glue and simply take each colour that you are wanting and add them round the outside. Take your time doing this, there's no rush, it's not going to set instantly on you, and you will end up with a lovely, beautiful, completely edible, we must point out, poppet, which are going crazy at the moment. Place this into the oven with the oven light on if you want to speed up the setting process, especially if it's a humid day. This will help your sugar work set.